Homicide 1912. The case of 34-year-old Walter James Limpus. Walter Limpus was found guilty but insane for the murders of his 27-year-old wife, Lucy Limpus, and 2-year-old infant son, Stanley Limpus. He beat them to death with a hatchet at their ground floor flat at 24 Stork Road, Forest Gate, on the 11th of February 1912. At about 7:30 a.m. on the 11th of February, a newspaper boy said that he was delivering papers in Stork Road when he noticed Walter Limpus come out of 24 Stork Road with a blood-stained hatchet and go onto the pavement and shout, "Murder! Murder! Murder!" He said that he saw Walter Limpus hit the railings with the blood-stained hatchet and said that his eyes were bloodshot. The newspaper boy said that he then went off for the police. Soon after, a woman that lived at 31 Stork Road, opposite 24 Stork Road, said that at about 7:35 a.m. on the 11th of February 1912, she heard a crying and moaning noise, and said that when she went outside, she saw Walter Limpus standing at his gate, holding his head and moaning. She said that she called out to him, asking, "What is the matter?" but said that he took no notice of her, and then picked up an axe that he had and went back into his house. She said that he looked very white and agitated. Walter Limpus then walked into a nearby newsagent's in Knox Road at about 8 a.m. on the 11th of February 1912. He was wearing trousers, slippered feet, and a shirt with unbuttoned arms that had bloodstains on the sleeves. When he walked into the newsagent's, he said, "I have murdered my wife and child." However, the newsagent said that he knew Walter Limpus as a somewhat eccentric man and didn't believe him. Walter Limpus then said to the newsagent, "Come with me, I have murdered my wife and child." The newsagent said that although he didn't believe him, he agreed to go back to his house with him. The newsagent said that when they got to Stork Road, Walter Limpus waited outside, leaning on a railing and muttering unintelligibly whilst he went in. The newsagent said that the front door was open and that he went through to the bedroom at the back. He said, "To my horror, I saw the battered bodies of the woman and the child lying in the disordered and blood-stained bed. The head of the baby was smashed in, 2 dreadful gashes having been inflicted, undoubtedly causing instant death. Mrs. Limpus was still just alive, though terribly injured, and was groaning faintly and writhing in her agony. I sent my boy off for a doctor, whilst I went for a policeman. Lucy Limpus died within a few minutes after the doctor arrived. Walter Limpus made no attempt to escape, and waited at the railings until the police arrived, and he was taken off to Forest Gate Police Station. When the bedroom was searched, a chopper, which it was thought had been used to inflict the injuries, was found beneath the bed. When the police arrived at the house, they found Walter Limpus standing by his door. When they asked him what the matter was, he said, "Good God, I have murdered my wife and child. Go into them. I done it with an axe." After the police went in to look at the bodies, Walter Limpus said, "Let me die. I want to die. I must be mad. I will go quietly. Is she dead? I don't know what made me do it." When he was taken to the police station, he said, "I have committed the murder, Constable. I have killed my wife and child. I had a terrible night. I wish I had killed myself. I have had no sleep for nights. I have had a nervous breakdown. My poor little boy has been ill with bronchitis. I ought to have committed suicide, as their lives were worth more than mine. It was a cold-blooded crime for me to do. I must have been mad. I must go to the gallows." When he was searched, Walter Limpus was found to have £1, 3 shillings, 4 pence in cash on him, and a savings bank book showing a credit balance of £52, 11 shillings, 6d. When the doctor arrived at about 9:30 a.m, he said that Lucy Limpus was still breathing, but that she died within a few minutes. He said at the post-mortem that he found that there was evidence of great violence to Lucy Limpus's head, noting that there were 6 distinct wounds, and that the axe that was found under the bed could have been used to cause them. He said that her death was caused by a fracture of the skull and laceration of the brain. He added that Stanley Limpus had died from similar injuries to his head. Walter Limpus was found guilty but insane at the Old Bailey on the 27th of February 1912 for their murders and was ordered to be detained during His Majesty's pleasure.